Hey guys, today we're working on a 2006 Cadillac ESV. We've been having some complaints of steering, kind of wandering around, a lot of clunking noises. Me and Kevin took a look at it and we did the standard test where we jack up one side. We found there's a lot of play in the Pitman and idler arm. It looks like they're actually able to kind of hop in there. So we're going to replace that along with the inner and outer tie rods. Do our best to film it along the way, go over what tools we used, what parts we're going through. We're doing all MOOG parts rather than using like local AutoZone in advance. He's getting the safety stands in now. It's a very long vehicle, so we put it up on a lift. We like to put something in the front and the back, make sure we don't get any teeter-tottering or anything like that. Anyway, we'll get started. Alright guys, so let me go over real quick why we're changing these out and why we think they're bad. So we've got the car up in the air, but we're gonna have him move the passenger tire a bit. This is the idler arm. And the movement that we see in it going up and down in that slop, that shouldn't happen. And when we had the other wheel on the ground, we also were seeing that it was moving. It didn't matter. It didn't matter how we did it. Just do a little left and right shaking. Like not a full movement, but enough to just shake it. See that movement in there? That is not what we would expect in this. We see that on the idler arm and the Pitman arm. When we had the other wheel mounted on the ground, this thing is just popping around. So we're gonna change it out and get started now. This nut here is a 22. We're gonna use an impact to pull it off, and then I'm gonna try an air hammer to separate this if I can. If not, we have a couple puller tools. We'll also go up here and we got to get these 3 bolts out. I haven't checked the sizes. There's a good chance that they are also a 22. But we've got a new bracket and arm. We're not trying to merge 2 different ones. So we'll keep you posted. Sorry for the background noise. We're in a pole barn. It's raining outside and it's very loud in here. So we'll get started and keep you posted. Hi guys, from under the car, I'm starting on the passenger side. What we're looking at is the idler arm, and then connected to it is the idler arm bracket. This is the entire bar, is the center link. If you come over, we also have our Pitman arm, which we'll be changing. And then from there, we go to inner tie rod, and then our outer tie rod connected here. We're gonna be replacing all of it. We're gonna start with the idler arm because it's gonna be likely the easiest one to get changed out. And then once the idler arm is changed out, as well as the bracket, we'll move on to the Pitman arm. I'm expecting that's gonna be the biggest pain because I believe we have to unbolt the steering box, drop it down some to get to it. So we'll get started. I'll try to tell you what tools we use, any tricks we have, and hopefully you can do this job yourself. Possibly in a driveway. I will say it's already going to be easy on a lift, but we'll keep you posted. Hey guys, so for this Cadillac, at least this model, we're taking off like this plastic splash guard. It has 4 15mm bolts, one at each corner. So we pulled that out so we can more easily see our bracket right here, so we can see the bolts. It looks like it's only 2 bolts. I thought it was 3, but again, we'll get in there. We'll let you know everything we've done as we go. But we've already got the bolt loose. We actually used a different size than a 22. A 22 did fit the nut on the idler arm, but we ended up using, I don't even know what size it was. It was metric, not standard, but it fitted fine, zipped it off. We're gonna get this box out so we can pop everything off. So we're gonna check these out up here. Let's see, it looks like a 22 fits that as well. Something else might fit it better, but it's fitting it. It's a bolt and nut through. So we're gonna pull these 2 off right here so that we can get that exposed. We are not gonna separate this nut here from the idler arm bracket because for us it doesn't matter. We're replacing everything. So if we can get it out in one piece rather than trying to use more pullers, that's what we're gonna do. So least amount of work, taking off this cover here. We've taken the 1 bolt off the idler arm that mounts to the gosh, what is that? Center link. And now we're going to be taking out these two bolts here so we can drop this whole assembly out, get an idea how much play is in there. So we'll follow up. All right, guys. So I mentioned we have taken off the nuts on the idler arm itself. It's kind of hard to see, but we've loosened this off. We use like an 11/16, but it seems like a 21 fits it the best, nice and snug. So if you got a 21, stick with that. We've also taken off the plastic cover we had here. It uses 4 15mm bolts. We pulled that all out, and now we're going to focus on these two bolts and nuts here. The bolts go through this way. There's nuts on the other side. We've tested 21 seems to fit it the best, so we're going to zip that out, and then we may have to tap on the Pitman arm itself, the idler arm itself, to separate it from the center link, and we'll keep you posted. But so far so good. It seems like the idler arm is going to be the easiest part of this. Guys, so for that idler arm bracket, this is what's in there. It's only 2 bolts holding that part in. We use 21mm on each side. On the side with the nut, I used a wrench on the back side, and then I had him with an impact and ratchet. Just pull these out. There's a washer on each side. The bolt goes in from the driver's side, from the front of the car facing back, and then you have a washer on each side and the nut. Again, pretty easy to come out. We're going to work on separating the idler arm from the center link now, and see if we can pull that out. All right, guys. So you missed a little bit. I did get that to separate from the old one. From the center link. I just put the nut on the end of the stud and hit it with the hammer to get it out. We've got the new parts set in there, all loose. We put our extension on the grease fitting, and we'll get that routed later. And we've got everything started. So I will note. This came with a foam washer, and we put the foam washer between the center link and the idler arm. That seems like the only reasonable spot to go. But again, we just went with that option. So everything's already pre-greased. We'll put grease in everything before we are done today. But we're just going to work through. We're going to leave this loose until we do our Pitman arm. We just have everything again started in place, and we're going to work our way around and get to it. So next up, you'll see us removing the Pitman arm. We're probably gonna have to go run and get a tool or two to get that to separate, because it is definitely not going to be fun. I expect that we're gonna have to loosen the bolts here to get it out. So we'll see how it goes. Sorry, bad camera work. We're kind of working this as we go, and it's a lot of parts to do. So keep you posted. All right, guys, so we used a almost like a pipe wrench to loosen this big nut that is on the Pitman arm. It looks silly as hell, but it actually broke it loose just fine with a cheater bar. I slid the seal up. Yeah, hold the other tool. I mean, really, we had this really old automotive. I don't even want to call it a pipe wrench because it's apparently not what it's for. And we got it on there, and we were able to loosen it, get the nut off. Now we just need to separate it. We don't actually have the Pitman separator with us, so we have to go grab it and borrow it. I thought we had one, but I guess not. Maybe I broke it before and I threw it out. And also this part here is just a seal that slides up, so I slid it up out of the way. I'm trying to hit it with the air hammer to go down. I think I'm just gonna have to go get the tool to drop it off up there. And also we'll have to break this loose, which should be a 21, and we'll get that out of there. So I'm gonna work on that. I'll keep you posted. This is definitely a difficult job. Takes some time and patience, but anything I do, I'll keep tracking. All right, guys, we just spent probably an hour just messing with this part here, trying to get the Pitman arm ball joint to separate from here. It's a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. We still have to get the actual Pitman arm off of the steering gear, but I'll go over the next steps for that. But we used a combination of keeping the nut on there and hit it with a hammer. We also had an air hammer hitting up on the Pitman arm, trying to separate it. We sprayed all kinds of, PB Blaster, liquid wrench in here. Eventually it gave, but be prepared for a fight. I used like a 2-pound hammer to get it out. So now that it's separated, we're gonna work our way to getting the steering gear loosened, because we're not gonna be able to get it out unless we do. To do so, if you look inside your wheel well, you're gonna see 3 bolts. Here's 1, there's 2, I'm sorry, it might be 2 bolts. I'm thinking of a different vehicle. But it looks like there might only be 2 bolts for this. One is behind the wheel well here, which you can barely see, and then that one there. Oh, there we go, there is the third, that's what I thought. So there's a third one up there, hard to see with the lighting, but there's 3 bolts. So we're gonna take out 2 of them and try to loosen a third one so that we can, so that we can spin this steering gear here up so we can get a press or puller on the actual arm. We did see this one is super loose. Our idler arm one was not as bad, but this Pitman arm joint is just so sloppy. That's probably where all of our play is at. But we're gonna work on that. If we see any tips or tricks, we'll let you know. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Hey guys, so quick follow-up. We took all 3 bolts out of the steering gear itself. Once that happened, we were able to pull it off the side and angle it this way some. I'll try to get to it from the other side. Bear with me, this camera moves very slow. But once it was angled this way, we were able to slide in our Pitman arm removal tool, slide it up over top of it, impact that in, and it's separated. So the splines are nice and clean. We're not seeing any issues. We're gonna pull our part out and put a new Zerk fitting on. Put a Zerk fitting on the new one, slide it in, and start bolting everything in. But like I said, this was a pain. This one had the most play in it as well. So we're gonna swap it out. Tools we were using, I think it's just 21 millimeters again. That seems like the common trend on this vehicle. But again, we're gonna swap it out, and we'll let you see what it looks like when the... All right guys, so we slid everything in, made sure that the splines lined up the same way the old one came off. We put the nut on there, the same one that came off of it with the lock washer. To tighten it, we just used that same tool we used to take it off, essentially like a pipe wrench. We put a cheater bar on it to get it really tight. We made sure that it was the same distance it was on there before. I'm gonna hit this again to make sure it's super tight, but we had like a 3-foot cheater bar on it and really tightened it up good. Nothing was slipping, so we were really happy with it. And I've since bolted back in the steering gear. Now we're gonna go through and tighten everything else. We're gonna tighten everything, make sure everything's good, tighten everything to spec, and then we're gonna look at the tie rod ends. But first we wanted to see how the play looked with replacing the idler arm bracket, and the Pitman arm. So we're gonna do that, take a quick look at everything, and then get started on doing our inner and outer tie rods. So follow along, they'll be a lot easier to film, and you'll be able to get a better idea of how to do them. This job, honestly, if I would give it a 7 or 8 out of 10 for difficulty. If you don't have a lift and you've never done this kind of stuff before, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. So the older the vehicle is, the more rust you'll deal with. Getting the stuff separated has been the toughest part. So again, I'll follow up and we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, we have everything tight and snug when it comes to the idler arm and the Pitman arm. We have gone through and really torqued down heavy on both the big nuts here, both the ones that go into the center link. And now we're gonna go into our tie rods. We're gonna start by breaking this loose. We're gonna do one side at a time. We're gonna turn this side all the way over, break that loose. Then we're gonna take off our boot here, get into there with a wrench and loosen that, pull it off, and then I'm gonna put this side by side to the new ones and try to get a similar length as close as I can. We know it's gonna need an alignment. That's a no-brainer, but we're going to try to try to make it as drivable as possible to get there. The only thing I haven't done over here is put my cotter pins in, because I wanted, just in case for some reason I need to drop it to do the tie rod ends, I left that kind of open. But we're gonna get started on that and work our way through. It shouldn't be a very difficult job. Tie rod ends I usually can do in under an hour, as long as it's not a rusty mess. This car was serviced pretty well in its lifetime. It's got almost 200,000 miles on it, but everything's been greased really well, which is unfortunate for us because I've washed my hands 50 times today, and it's every time we touch something we're covered in grease. But even then, things wear out. What we have noticed after we tightened it all up is we have no play now. There is zero play in this steering, and we're not getting that bouncing motion or jumping motion that we were before. The tie rod ends may be unnecessary, but there is still a tiny bit of play, like very slightly. So rather than come back and do it again, since there's going to be an alignment, we'll just do it all in one shot, be done with it, and hopefully we'll have a happy person at the end of the day. So we'll follow up when we get these tie rod ends off. Hey guys, we went ahead and got the tie rod out, the inner and outer. Really, we just broke it loose from the actual knuckle over here and just tapped it with a hammer, and it came right out. And on this side, we used a big pipe wrench with a breaker bar and was able to slide that out. And we're gonna go on the ground over here and can take the new and the old and get them pretty close matched up together, so that we can slide it on. So I'll show you kind of a snap of that, and you can see how we get it close. Again, you're gonna need an alignment. There's no way around it. So, just get as close as you can so you can drive it there. It's a Sunday here right now, so we're not gonna be able to really get anything done today. We plan on just getting the work done and then taking it up on Monday or Tuesday to get an alignment. So I'll show you in a second, and hopefully you can follow along. Okay, so we've got our old tie rod, both inner and outer. We've got our new ones. We went with MOOG because I don't want to do this job again. So we're going to take our new and old and try to match them up the best we can. First thing we need to do is slide this nut on, the locking nut. A little more snug. Could have prepped for this, I guess. It's got a ways to go. Again, we know we still are going to need an alignment, but still get us close rather than measuring over and over again. Just put them side by side and get it done. Almost there. I'll have to speed this part up on the video. Okay. You can also do the trick where you count the turns, but that only works usually if the parts are the exact same threading and everything, and distance. Sometimes the distance from here to here is different on the new part versus the old, and at that point it won't really help you out much. So let's see where we're at. Gotta come in some more. Still gotta come in some more. Pretty close. I'm going to do one more turn in. I think I would be pretty happy with that. Do one more and we'll put our locking nut there. So that's how I'll get it close. After it's on the car, if everything seems kind of off, I may play with it a bit, but this should be enough to get us started. Just need to put the fitting in there and we'll mount it up. All right guys, quick update. Got the new tie rod in. It's just got a big, hexagon or octagon, whatever on the end. Again, I used a pipe wrench to get it tight. There was already thread locker built onto the threads, but I added some more anyway, just some blue. and we used the pipe wrench and got it snug where it will not move, so it's nice and tight. I went back and dropped the outer tie rod into the hole. I added the nut just for now to hold it. We're going to go back at the end and tighten everything and put cotter pins in, and then I did snug this down so it won't move at all. And we'll see if we have to adjust that, but we're going to get started now on the passenger side. So we've already, looks like you already broke it loose. So we'll work our way and do the same process. It's very easy. You know, you're just going to break this loose. You're going to need to hit it up or use some type of separating tool if you'd like. And then right here you've got, you know, a big hexagon. If you got a wrench big enough, great. If not, pipe wrench. And let me see if I can find the one I use, but that's not the one I use for that. I mean, straight up, just a big pipe wrench, and you can get it off pretty easily. So we're gonna get it off. We're gonna do the same thing we did with the other, match them up, get them close within a few millimeters, and work from there. All right, guys, we are winding down. We now have the passenger side inner and outer tie rod on. Again, thread locker on this, use pipe wrench, even used a cheater bar to really put a lot of tightness on it. With this one, and once it bottoms out, these are good. There's really no way to mess that up unless, you know, you just don't make it tight enough. I snugged up this nut again just to hold it in. The wheels look pretty straight. We're going to take it straight for an alignment, so that's fine with us. We're going through and tightening down our tie rod ends. We're going to put all of our cotter pins in. We are also going to go through the entire assembly and check every single nut and bolt, tighten it up, including, you know, our driving gear, Pitman Arm, and, you know, the driving gear to Pitman Arm thing. We're going to tighten it all up, and then once we're done, we're going to put our cover back on, mount. We'll find the mounting spot for this on where it suggests it goes. If not, we can just have it zip tied to the side. And then we're going to also pack a little bit of grease in all of it. They all came pre-greased, but it's not going to hurt to put a little in there as long as we don't blow the boots out. So that's pretty much the whole video, guys. I know it's kind of choppy in there. I would expect you to struggle with this a bit. It's not going to be an easy job. If we were just doing like the idler arm and bracket, that would have been under an hour probably. We were pretty quick with that. I strongly suggest you rent the front end service kit tools for pulling. And it made once we grabbed that, it sped everything up. We also have an air hammer, which helped that, and both of us hitting it at the same time. This is, you know, a 15-year-old vehicle at this point. So if this is all factory, and that's what we're dealing with. So good luck. Any questions, you know, leave it in the comments. I'll try to help. You know, sorry this video was not as close as some of the other ones of step by step, but we were busting a lot of knuckles to get through this. So good luck, guys. See ya.